p.m. Welcome, everyone. For those in the audience tonight, my name is Steve Sally, and I'm the chair and serving as the presiding officer over the Community Services Commission meeting. In consideration of others and the business conducted tonight, please silence your phones and any electronic devices and refrain from speaking unless recognized. If you're in attendance and wish to speak during public comment, forms are located in the lobby area at the of Glendora. We appreciate and respect your participation here this evening. Roll call. Will you please conduct roll call?
Oh, we changed it. Commissioner Louis Porcher.
Present.
Commissioner, I'm going to probably pronounce your last name incorrectly. Kotowski? Kotowski.
Present.
Vice Chair Gerber.
Present.
Chair Sally.
Present.
Let the record show, 4 members are present.
Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone stand for the pledge. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Reordering of and additions to the agenda. Does anyone wish to reorder or add to tonight's agenda? No? All right. Public comment. The public comment period is now open. Members of the public, you can address this body. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, speaking once on both on and off-topic agenda items. If you're in attendance, please fill out a speaker card and submit it to the recording admin before the close of the public comment period. Once recognized, speakers should advance to the podium, state your name and the subject matter you wish to discuss. Do we have any public cards, speaker cards?
I haven't received any.
Okay. Then we will close the public comment period. Member statements and reports. Brittany, you start us off?
Sure, thank you. Just one to report. We have the Culture Fest coming up, which is going to be on May 17th, this coming Saturday. Looking forward to it. I know Annie and the team have been working diligently to confirm vendors and food and all kinds of wonderful things. This past week, I had the pleasure of speaking on one of our public radio local stations on Instagram for the first time, representing for the city in terms of this event. So hopefully we see a big draw of the public coming out to celebrate and participate. And I'm sure that we'll have some additional comments, or should I invite someone up to speak additionally on it? No? Okay. And did I leave anything out, Annie? No? Okay. Okay. That's it.
Thank you. Mike?
Since we met last, I was able to make it up to Trails Day to meet some of the staff and meet some of the people who volunteer on that. It was great to talk to everybody. I was able to stop by Earth Day and chat with staff, and I always like to pick the Metro people's, the representative's brain as the train line starts to open up. So it's like a yearly tradition for the family. You mentioned Culture Fest this Saturday. It's not put on by the city, but the Memorial 5K is coming up, an event put on by one of our neighbors in Glendora. It's always a great event. I think they're in their 3rd year. Lastly, I was able to drive around and nominate the Glendora Home Award, which I believe is presented later in the year. And I was really lucky. The house I gave it to, the gentleman, was outside. So I was able to chat with him and not just leave it on his door. And it was just nice to see someone who I hadn't met before in the neighborhood and talk to them about it. But yeah, it's been a busy 2 months now, and looking forward to more events this summer.
Very nice. Thank you. David?
Thank you, Steve. Let's see. I was unable to attend the last T4G meeting, so I don't have an update. Unfortunately, time has been a sort of a challenge at this point. I hope to try and get there this month as the school year is now winding down, so would like to get a feel for where they are and what their plans are for the summer, and then how we can look at growing the enrollment as we move forward for fall and what they have in store to try and reach out to new membership, specifically at the beginning of the year. So that's my update for T4G. Thank you.
Thank you. The Sports Council met this past Tuesday. Glendora Youth Soccer, their registration is currently open. They are growing pretty well. They've got almost 1,300 kids already. And late registration will begin on June 1st. So there's still a little time for regular registration. Youth football just finished their physicals. All of their teams are full at this point, except two teams still have a few openings. And they will be hosting a blood drive at American Tire on June 7th from 11 to 3 for those interested in donating to that cause. Glendora American will be having their closing ceremonies this Saturday at 10 a.m. They will be continuing play through the end of the month, and they will be hosting a couple of all-star tournaments in the second half of June. Glendora National just finished up their regular season, and they're moving into playoffs now through the end of the month. And on Friday, May 30th at 5 p.m., they will have their closing ceremonies. Pony play goes through the end of the month, and then playoffs will begin for the first week of June. They'll be hosting some all-star tournaments throughout, through most of the summer, it looks like, till about mid-August. So there's some excitement there. Lassie League, their spring season has ended. All-Stars have now begun. The teams will be competing in a tournament this weekend in Whittier. They will also be hosting 2 softball tournaments this summer, the Pride of the Foothills tournament, and then the district tournament will also take place at Louis Pompey Park. And that concludes everything from the Sports Council. Director statements. John, you have a statement you'd like to make?
Yeah, just a real quick thing. We'll have to set up for you guys the 2 awards, the Ed Kirkpatrick and the Buck Dunham, for those winners at different locations when they're probably at an opening of one of their seasons, and then the other one through Scouts. We'll have to look and see, and get that out to you. We'll work with our Scout people. That's it.
Thank you. Consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar will be enacted by one motion without individual discussion unless a commissioner has requested it to be removed for separate discussion. Does anyone wish to pull or comment on any consent calendar item? No? All right. Then can we get a motion to accept them as is?
I'll second it.
Okay. How did you? Oh, there it is.
So we have a motion made by Commissioner Louis Borche, seconded by Vice Chair Gerber. Go ahead and cast your votes. The motion carries 4-0.
Unfinished business. Update on addressing homelessness. At this time, I'd like to invite Human Services Supervisor Eric Dumeyer to report.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity to share this update on the city's efforts to address homelessness. Since our November update, the Homeless Services team has continued to meet with local community groups shown here to present on available services. On February 19th, the city participated in the Greater Los Angeles Point-in-Time Homeless Count, which is largely volunteer-driven, so this was another opportunity to engage with the community. We had a strong volunteer turnout, which helped make the night a success. We continue to attend meetings of the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments Homeless Committee and the Consortium on Homelessness to keep up to date on funding and issues related to homelessness. The impact of our services is amplified by strong relationships with the community. Shepherd's Pantry, for example, is one of our highest utilized resources. Faith communities have supported our efforts through gift card donations, hygiene kits, and a weekly shower ministry. Staff work with the school district to help support students who are experiencing homelessness or at risk, providing referrals or direct case management to these households. YWCA case management remains available weekly at the LaFetra Center, and staff provide referrals as needed to Veterans Affairs and the Department of Mental Health Services. As mentioned, the annual point-in-time homeless count was held on February 19th. We had a strong volunteer turnout, so we'd like to thank everyone that attended and helped to spread the word. This count fulfills a mandate from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and allows communities to better direct resources and advocate for additional funding and services to address homelessness. This graph shows the data from the last 10 years for reference, although the final numbers for 2025 aren't expected to be released until later this summer. As staff receive more calls from people at risk of losing their housing, more time and resources are being directed to this need. Some households request assistance after experiencing a one-time financial crisis like a job loss or a medical emergency. Others are living on a fixed income and struggling to meet basic needs, or they've experienced domestic violence. Whether financial assistance is given or not, we work with the household to identify ways that they could reduce expenses, increase income, and connect to other resources. This graph shows that of the 29 households who requested assistance since our last update, 4 received financial assistance. First contact with a household includes a screening for eligibility, during which clients verify their residency and their financial hardship. We then have multiple discussions with the household to understand what led to their crisis and to develop a plan to help them remain in their homes long term. Through these interactions, some households may self-resolve and no financial assistance is needed. Other households may get linked to multiple service providers for case management and financial assistance. In every situation, we do use our due diligence to try to link households to any resource they may be eligible for in the community. Street outreach remains an essential part of the city's homeless efforts. The LACADA, or Los Angeles Centers for Alcohol and Drug Abuse outreach team, has continued to build its relationships with unsheltered individuals and service providers to achieve these successes. Their coordinated efforts with Glendora PD's Community Impact Team has given them access to every corner of the city and helped them maintain a steady presence so the unsheltered community can receive essential services. The team has averaged about 2 to 3 interim housing placements a month, the majority of which were connected to Soul Housing, a Medi-Cal-funded transitional housing program in Los Angeles. This graph shows the number of encounters the outreach team has had since September. The orange line on the bottom represents new encounters, which we consider to be an intentional interaction with someone not already contacted to provide or offer services. There were 83 new encounters from September to March. The green line on the top represents total encounters, of which there were 793. The majority of these interactions were to provide multiple services to the same individual, what one might expect with case management follow-up appointments. Staff continue to use motel vouchers to help link individuals to resources. From September to March, 26 people were provided vouchers. Of the 244 nights provided, 72 were paid for through the Housing Solutions Fund grant, while the rest were funded by the city's motel voucher program. These motel stays have been an important tool to help people connect to permanent housing, shelter, and substance use treatment. Of the 17 individuals who obtained interim housing, for example, 10 of them were provided a motel voucher first. The city's homeless efforts maintain a balanced approach between providing services and responding to community concerns. The police department's community impact team is in a unique position to support both. While the LACADA team collects data on the number of individuals and services provided throughout the city, the police department analyzes crime data and calls for service related to homelessness. This information is important in identifying hotspots where homeless activity is most visible. The police department also coordinates encampment cleanups on city property, and since September, there have been 5 cleanups at a cost of about $31,000. Here's a brief overview of some court decisions that impact how the city addresses homelessness. The Supreme Court ruling in Johnson versus Grants Pass is the most recent, and it provides more leeway to manage public spaces and issues posed by homelessness. Included in your agenda packet is a briefing from the city attorney summarizing each. This fiscal year, the city received a $50,000 Measure H grant from the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments Housing Solutions Fund to be used for homelessness prevention and housing assistance. Here's a breakdown of how these funds have been spent since the last update to this commission. To date, we've used about $44,000, and these funds must be exhausted by the end of June. Some of those assisted by this grant were a family fleeing domestic violence, a pregnant mother who was linked to shelter, and a youth leaving an abusive home environment. Also, two chronically homeless seniors, one of whom was a veteran, moved into permanent housing and were provided furniture through these funds. The city is in the last year of its contract with Lakota for street outreach services, and at the April 2025 City Council meeting, the City Council approved a contract renewal to continue to operate our program at the same capacity. The Lakota team has helped 24 people obtain permanent housing, 50 obtain interim housing, and 9 receive substance use treatment services. This doesn't include the hours spent helping clients obtain employment, Social Security benefits, legal aid, domestic violence services, mental health care, and medical services. Their impact and skill connecting with the individuals they serve aren't just acknowledged by city staff, but also by the residents and community groups they engage with. Of the 17 individuals who were linked to interim housing since September, 16 were placed outside of the San Gabriel Valley, mostly in Los Angeles. Only one was housed locally through a host family. Permanent housing continues to be a scarce resource as the vast majority of our clients have fixed or no incomes and rely on waiting for a Section 8 voucher for permanent housing. With housing costs increasing each year, obtaining or even keeping a rental without a housing voucher is becoming more and more difficult for low-income families. And because of changes at the federal level, federally funded housing programs like the Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher are starting to be impacted. The City of Los Angeles' Housing Authority, for example, announced a pause on voucher applications in March. And in April, HUD issued a letter threatening to cut housing funding for local jurisdictions that support sanctuary policies, such as in Los Angeles. This decision could have a significant impact on homelessness throughout the county. Regarding our successes, however, the team continues to work with the resources available to us, and these are some of the success stories since our last update. We helped a veteran with multiple health issues quickly connect to shelter and VA staff who followed up to help him access his benefits. A family fleeing domestic violence was provided a motel voucher for 2 weeks until staff identified a shelter for them out of the area. A veteran who has been well known to outreach staff and PD for many years moved into his permanent housing with staff's help. And most recently, a youth on the verge of homelessness has been linked to host housing and transitional housing with a coordinated effort between our team and youth service provider Sycamores. That concludes our presentation. I'd be happy to take any questions you have. Thank you.
Thank you. Kimmy?
Yes, thank you for that report. Very helpful. I do understand the implications that federal mandates are having on various different resources throughout the community. So I'm prayerful that we will see this through on a positive end, because I know that the work that you're doing has impacted our community in a positive way. I had a question about the motel vouchers, and forgive me if this is a duplication, because I feel like this has been asked before, but what is the length of time that unhoused individuals could utilize that service? Is there a minimum, maximum?
Case-by-case basis, we've done it for as little as a day. We try to have the motel voucher be something that is going to directly link to some type of resource, whether it's substance use treatment. We've put people in a motel overnight so that they can get to their detox appointment first thing in the morning, which is usually 7:30 in the morning. Makes it easier for the team to find them without having to go into the encampments and track them down, or maybe people might have cold feet, and it's just a nicer way of kind of giving them a little bit of dignity before they go into something difficult. Before they are moved into interim housing, sometimes it may take a week before a bed is open, but maybe we've heard confirmation like, yes, you do have a bed, we're just waiting for someone to kind of clear out. And so if we have a date, a week or less, we'll put them in. If they have permanent housing and Section 8 vouchers, one thing about that is that it might take a long time to process, but when you move in, you know it's for sure, you know it's going to happen. It's just a big bureaucracy. So we usually have a date of the move in, and it might be a month out. So if that's the case, then we might have the person move in or check into a motel, and then we could follow up with all the paperwork appointments, because there's usually week after week of, you got to sign this, you got to sign that. It just makes it easier to track people down. There's been some individuals, like this youth that we have been helping most recently, who had to be in a motel for a couple months because the host housing was difficult to come by. It took a while to even find a host willing to take them in. So we have done those longer term, but that's on the rare side. It's usually a week or less,
Okay.
case-by-case basis.
Thank you. That was very thorough, and I appreciate that.
Sure.
You mentioned Shepherd's Pantry. I know there's talking about development in that shopping center where they are. Have you started letting people you know who utilize the service that the location may be changing? Do they have a new location picked out for when the townhomes are completed? Just curious where you are in that kind of communication.
So we haven't started talking like that to our clients yet, because we are the ones that usually take them there. There are some housed individuals that are able to drive themselves and wait in that long line Wednesday and Thursday evening, but most of the clients that need to go during the day have to go with our staff to have access. So we figure if we're going to be with them, we're going to take it as it comes, and that's not something they necessarily have to worry about just yet, because we're going to figure it out, and we always do. So even if it means going to the Irwindale location or one of the other locations, and there are other food pantries within our adjacent communities within 10, 15 minutes that we can utilize. We just don't need to, because we're kind of spoiled, because Shepherd's can do a lot for us, and it's been a great partner. So it's on our radar for sure that we might have to pivot, but that's kind of the nature of the game. We're just used to doing that.
Other question with summer coming up. I'm curious, are there cooling centers in Glendora? And does that offer you another opportunity to make more outreach and more connection?
It does offer a really good opportunity. The LaFetra Center is actually a cooling center during the week, and then the library is a cooling center on the weekend. So while our outreach staff isn't available on the weekend, that's why we do have a strong communication with the library staff and just folks around the city. We make sure to hand out our flyers to all the different city offices so that the staff that are working those hours, the police, the library, they do have access to people, and if they see that someone might be unsheltered, they can hand them a flyer and then direct them our way towards the LaFetra Center. But yeah, it is a great opportunity to engage with people. And there are some people that we have an eye on that are active clients of ours that we kind of keep a running short list when the weather is significantly hot, whether they're seniors or have severe medical issues, and we'll try to put them in a motel for a bit just to help them get through that hard time.
And the last question, it was touched on a little bit, but what is the HUD money currently used for? Is it specifically allocated? And if it gets cut, what do you stand to lose?
So the city doesn't currently receive any HUD funding, but it goes mostly to Section 8. There is some HUD funding that goes towards shelters, none of which we really utilize. The wait times are difficult. It's hard to really talk people into using those shelters, but Section 8 is huge. The two main types of HUD vouchers are the housing choice voucher, where an individual gets a voucher. They just have to find a landlord willing to rent to them, so they can have a lot of flexibility. They can stay in Glendora if they have that type of voucher and if they find a landlord. And then there's the project-based voucher, where it's tied to a specific address that usually comes with case management. We haven't seen any housing choice vouchers to our clients in over a year, maybe over a year conservatively, 2 years, probably realistically. No one's had a housing choice voucher. We've had a couple potential matches to project-based vouchers, but they usually don't end up coming to fruition. And those are all in Los Angeles. So there's nothing in this area. And of course, everyone wants to stay, if not in Glendora, at least in the San Gabriel Valley. So cutting those vouchers means that there's a lot more competition with people in Los Angeles for those that are willing to stay in their neighborhood. The outside communities, Norwalk, Downey, this area, the San Fernando Valley, those are all competing for these very limited resources. So that's really how it impacts us, whether or not we even get a match. If we do get a match, we have to be the first ones to respond before a caseworker on the other side of the county gets their client in.
Thanks for the insight on that.
Again, great report, great information, really appreciate it. I know the city has really worked very hard in this area. When I was at the volunteer lunch, I met the two Licata people. They were there, got a chance to talk with them, and they were just very enthusiastic and very heartfelt in what they were doing. It was a passion. It was something that they really took to heart. So it's good to have people of that nature in those jobs, because that's not an easy job to have, especially with what they see and what they deal with on a day-to-day basis. So that was interesting for me. I do have a few questions. I noticed, so when we report the homeless, we report a number. Do cities, states, federal government, do they look at it in a ratio, right? Because people look, oh, we have 147 people, but per our population, right? Our population in the city of Glendora is roughly what, 50,000, right? So if you do the math, that's such a very small number. Is money or is anything looked at when it comes to that from a ratio, or do they just hone in on the number of people that we have?
That's a great question. I don't have 100% certainty on that. It's kind of above my pay grade, but it's significant compared to the previous years. So they look at the trends. This is getting into more community development type of, where you look at people per household. So I'm not sure the formula that they use, but I know it's significant depending on, the population. So.
Okay.
Really
Yeah, I
have
was
an
just
answer.
curious because when you look at it, I mean, yes, 147 is, oh my gosh, that's a lot of people, right? When you sit out and you look at a group of people, but when you look at the parameter of the entire city and how many people will actually live here, like you said, per household, that number seems to be very small, which means that we are doing a very good job. Yes, it goes like this, but I think that also depends upon the times, right? The economic times, the situation, all of those things. So I was just curious about that. Encampments, are there still any out there that are active that we are working on trying to clean up? Because I know you said we've cleaned up like 3 or so. It cost us a fair amount of money. Is anything active right now? Or?
There always are, yeah. There are encampments off Lone Hill, throughout the South Hills. The police department's out there all the time. We have a lot of feedback from community members, hikers, people that walk their dogs, and they let us know there are growing issues. Our outreach team goes out there. If we see that there are issues with tents or crimes or something like that that's beyond what we can handle, it's not something that's like necessarily a homeless services issue. It's more of a crime issue, or it's more of a, just an environmental issue, then, we'll let the department know, and then they will coordinate the encampment cleanups. But it's something that is kind of always around because the individuals are there, and we're trying to catch the individuals as they're shifting from one spot to another. And especially on Lone Hill, where you're right on the border with San Dimas, some people just go into San Dimas because they have ties there, and then they come back later. And so we do a lot of coordination with the city of San Dimas, housing coordinator over there, and their Lakota outreach team. So it's kind of like chasing a moving target.
Right, an ongoing process.
Yeah.
Okay. And then my last question, the grant, you said that it ends, that $50,000 concludes it in June. If you haven't used it all, does that money roll over? Do you lose it?
It does go away. So that's the Measure H funding, and all the Measure H funding will go away at that time. But we're working with San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments. We've already done a request for Measure A funding, the new sales tax. So we are expecting to get a significant amount more than what we've gotten for this $50,000 to use, not just for homeless prevention, but for outreach services, for a variety of things, motel vouchers and things like that.
And
We're
will
just
we-
waiting for them to get back
Will
to
you
us.
use that 50,000 up by the time that the date that it expires?
We're trying to.
Yeah.
Trying to, yeah. So if you know anyone in need, I mean, we're reaching out to everyone in the community to let them know that this money exists, whether it's a school
Right,
district
I
or
mean, I
Shepherd's
would be-
Pantry, churches.
Yeah, it'd be unfortunate that there's money left on the table in something of this nature if,
Right.
and it's not a lack of trying, it's a lack of knowledge, right? That people don't realize or understand that funding is available, so. Okay, no, that was it. Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Welcome.
Will we be doing a intermediate count this summer? I think we've been doing that in the past few years.
Not that I have heard of, but things can always change.
Okay, just curious if we're keeping that. Am I mistaken? Have we been doing that lately?
No, the last one was 2022, I
Oh,
believe.
Okay.
23.
Okay, thanks. And has your group had a chance to consider the governor's latest comments on encampments, how that may or may not impact what you do?
We did receive the notice. We haven't met formally to discuss the impact, so for now, we're just going business as usual and making sure that our presence is felt, our presence is known, so that if people do have to move, anytime someone does move an encampment, it is disruptive to the case management relationship because we just might not be able to find them. Their belongings may be lost. If they lose their ID, their social, now we have to work on accomplishing things that we've already accomplished with them, so it kind of sets us back towards housing progress. So we do try to keep people connected to us as much as possible. And that's kind of the stage that we're in right now, this kind of proactive relationship building. You know, we're trying to help people that have been kind of difficult to reach or have been kind of hesitant to accept services. We're trying to just be more present, more available, so that if that does happen, if they do end up having to move locations or if there's some shuffling around of where they are able to camp, then we can at least try to, big picture, keep the housing progress moving forward.
Well, thank you for your report, and thank you for all you do.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, one side note, we did a community survey, or the city of Glendora did one, and homelessness, which is always in the top of what people want to see, they have had a change of over 10% in satisfactory, from 36% to 46.1% of people feeling better, and that's a huge accomplishment to our team that is out there for our department, police department, and Lakota that works all together. You're not seeing as many more getting helped, and people are seeing that in our community survey also.
Very good. Can we get a motion to accept the report?
Sure, I'll motion.
Can second that.
So motion was made by Vice Chair Gerber, seconded by Commissioner Kwiatkowski. Now we'll open up so you guys can vote. Motion carries 4-0.
South Hills Bike Park update. At this time, I'd like to invite Senior Management Analyst Kelsey Fay to report.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. So tonight I'll be providing the update on the South Hills Bike Park project. So a little bit of background on the grant. In December 2023, California State Parks announced its recommendations to National Park Service for the Land and Water Conservation Fund grants. The South Hills Bike Park was selected as one of 16 park projects statewide to receive funding. I apologize, I'm still recovering from a cold. With $1 million awarded towards the project's total estimated cost of around $2 million. Since selection, we've completed key federal requirements, including a grant boundary map, the Section 106 of National Historic Preservation Act to review which, thank you, Lorena, which mandates that we identify and assess the potential impacts of our project on historic properties to ensure that we consider and respect the cultural heritage of the area, and updated application paperwork. On the design and engineering side, Avid Trails has completed up to the design development phase. Construction documents are now beginning, and we're anticipating that they will be completed this summer. Alta Planning and Design has provided the existing conditions report and conceptual grading and drainage plans, and they're now working towards hydrology and water quality reports. IMEG has completed a site stability assessment confirming that the site is suitable for construction, and Duke Cultural Resources has finalized their report confirming no effects on historical properties. This is the most up-to-date design of the park. It's remained mostly unchanged from the original, with minor changes to some of the trail alignments, where picnic and shade areas might be placed, where the restrooms are located, and the number of trees that need to be planted. Certain changes had to be adjusted due to fire code and needing space for a fire truck to turn around in the parking lot if needed. As we progress with this project, we've taken steps to comply with the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA, which is required due to the project size and the necessity of a general plan amendment. For the environmental review, PlaceWorks, Inc. is leading the preparation of the initial study and mitigated negative declaration. A mitigated negative declaration indicates that while the project may have some environmental impacts, these can be mitigated to a level where they're not considered significant. All necessary studies to support the documents are underway, and we anticipate releasing the draft initial study and mitigated negative declaration for public comment in August of 2025. For the overall timeline, so we have the conceptual, schematic, and design development completed, as well as the Section 106 review and geotechnical investigations. Preliminary engineering, CEQA documentation, and construction documents are actively in progress. We expect to advertise for bids in late summer or early fall, with construction anticipating to begin in early 2026. For the financials for this project, they remain on track. We currently have $1.14 million budgeted from city funds. Expenditures to date total about $532,000, leaving just over $600,000 available in funding. Once the final grant award is received from National Park Service, we'll return to City Council to formally appropriate the $1 million of grant funds, and construction is anticipated to be around $1.5 million. So next steps for this project include completing the CEQA process, submitting all final documentation to the Office of Grants and Local Services and to National Park Service, as well as finalizing the construction documents, going out to bid, and preparing for groundbreaking in early 2026. And this concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
No, great job.
No questions, just as we get closer to groundbreaking, hopefully. Just a suggestion that it might be worth reaching out to the governing body like USA BMX ahead of the Olympics. I think there's a great opportunity just to, I know we heard some of this in the State of the City for the past couple of years, get the word out so people come to the city. And around the Olympics, all these governing bodies are always trying to, right, they only shine every 4 years, right? BMX takes place all through the decade, but really it's around the Olympics that they really get their moment to shine. So it might be an opportunity to shine a light on the great stuff we're doing. So thank you for the report. I don't have any questions.
Thank you.
Again, thank you. It's always good to hear and see where we are in these projects, specifically this one, which is going to be a monumental piece for our city. You mentioned there's public comment in regards to when and where will that be? And is that for the city? Is that for the public to just on there? Because we're moving forward with this. So whatever they say, I don't know, does it have meaning, information, or what is that? in
Yeah, so
relation to-
basically that's part of the CEQA process. So all of the CEQA documents have to be like completely transparent. There has to be 2 public hearings. I think they have to go to Planning Commission and then City Council. And the documents have to be submitted through like the state clearinghouse for other agencies to view and make sure that we're doing everything by the book. So that's basically what that is.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
more around that portion.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like part of the CEQA process.
Okay. And then the funding that we're getting, the $1 million,
Mm-hmm.
which we have not yet received, and I'm sure you have a plan as to when, is that going to hold us up in terms of our moving forward, not having that money at a certain point in time, or will we continue to move and?
No, it shouldn't. So basically, like once everything is completely done and it's submitted to National Park Service, they'll review and then basically give us the stamp of like, yep, you completed everything that's required. And it's a reimbursement grant anyway. So we have to spend the money and then they'll
Okay.
reimburse us after.
That's what I was trying to get at. So
Yeah.
in this case, we'll pay for it and then we get it back once everything's completed.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. We just have to pay, hopefully that they'll pay quickly. We're not losing interest, paying interest on
Yeah.
not having that $1 million. Thank you, that's it.
Okay.
No questions. I'm just really excited to see this get going. So looking forward to early 2026.
Yes, me too.
All right. Thank you. Can I get a motion to accept the report?
I'll motion.
Sure, I'll second it.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Louis Borche, seconded by Vice Chair Gerber. So I'll open up for the vote, if you can please. Motion carries 4-0.
New business. Trails Council update. At this time, I'd like to invite Recreation Manager Annie Warner to present.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. I'm filling in for Alma this evening. Let me get on to the next one. This evening, I'll be giving the yearly update for the Trails Council. They're a volunteer group that meets monthly, the last Monday of each month. They're a robust group who do a lot and give a lot back to our trails. Each year, they're awarded $27,500 in the fiscal year's budget. We've been having some discussions with them. In the beginning, there was a lot of need, so the $27,500 went pretty quickly. As they've made some major improvements, it's getting harder and harder for them to spend those funds. Thus, so far this year, they have spent roughly, let me see the note she wrote me. Let's see. They've had expenses for QR codes on sticker trail boxes, trail day patches, and updating the street banner, tools and equipment. And their largest expense is hiring Mariposa to do major trail maintenance. So far they have $8,100 left in their budget, with still outstanding invoices about $1,500. They purchased 3 racks for storage, and then they're supposed to be spending $1,300 for the kiosk to be updated at Rowley Pavilion. There's a lot of going back and forth regarding the trails and the names of trails and making it as accurate as possible. As well as managing their budget and purchasing things, they are out in the community. They host 2 Trails Day major Trails Day workshops twice a year in the fall and in the spring. On April 5th, they hosted it at Big Dalton Wilderness Area. They had approximately 70 people in attendance, and they worked on the Ren Minchin Trail, the Kaiser Trail, and the Big Dalton. Susie, she's a Trail Council member, and she incorporated like an educational aspect, and she wants to develop that program through Trails Council and have that as part of their monthly hikes. They also do the community hikes. This past winter, they were there January 25th, February 22nd, March 29th, and April 26th. And they go and hike various trails. So if people aren't familiar with the trails, it's a great opportunity for them to explore them with the council. And then they're also involved in the community, and they were just locally most recently at the Earth Day Festival with a community booth, and they went and picked up the insects that Dick Sweeney has, and they were able to utilize that at the booth. Unfortunately, their hikes did get rained out, so I think they only got one in, and then it was finished for the day due to the rain. And here's some pictures of them working on some trail maintenance. And that concludes our presentation. If you have any questions.
No questions.
I just have one. If they don't use all the money, is the city going to take that back? Are they going to give
They
them
do,
less?
so they'll get refund. Their new budget will start over July 1st, and they'll receive the $27,500 again.
Okay. So they'll maintain that. The city won't say, all right, well, you didn't spend it, so
They
we're
could at some point, but we don't want to waste money. So if there's nothing to spend the money on, I mean,
Absolutely.
they're still pretty prudent.
Absolutely.
And they buy, what they need. So.
Right. Oh, no, I just wanted to be sure that, like you said, we're not just going out and spending $8,000 because we have it.
Yeah.
Just for the sole purpose of making sure that we get the same amount next year.
Yeah,
right?
they're not
That's
doing that.
A lot of times.
And the largest expense, I want to say, was a little over $15,000. That goes to Mariposa, and that's for the extensive weed abatement.
Right.
And this year it was really nice. Our park supervisor, he took care of that. Whereas last year that fell in our department, whereas he took over that and walked the trails with Mariposa and made sure those things were done.
Great. Thank you.
Just curious, in light of kind of the budget portion of that, are there any big projects that the commission's eyeing in the next year, 2 years, 3 years?
They
that
don't
want
have
to-
anything. When the money was first awarded, they put in new barbecues, new picnic benches in the area where the Raleigh Amphitheater was. But where the trails are, maybe with the addition of the South Hills Park, maybe they'll have some amenities and funds available to highlight some things in that area. But a lot of the big ticket items were done in the first couple of years. And so they don't need to be replaced at this time. So other than new signage, new hiking poles, the QR stickers, it's pretty minimal.
Okay. I did get one inquiry from someone in the community about, they have a group of high school juniors who are looking for like a service project for the summer or into the fall. So they may reach out with the same question I kind of asked. So if there is anything that they're looking for volunteer help on, they may get a,
And they're great to work with if there was like Eagle Scout projects as well, because a lot of the Trails Committee staff used to work with the Eagle Scout projects when Gordon Rowley was still alive and involved with the Scouts. So they can identify projects and let people know what there is to be worked on.
perfect, thanks.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to accept the report?
I can make a motion to accept that.
I second.
So motion made by Commissioner Kwiatkowski, seconded by Louis Borche. So I will open up for the vote. Brittany, I just need your vote. Thank you. Motion carries 4-0.
Short-range transit plan update. At this time, I'd like to re-invite Senior Management Analyst Kelsey Fay to report.
Hello again. So now I will be presenting the short-range transit plan, also known as the Go Glendora Transit Plan. So this plan represents the city's first comprehensive look at how to modernize and expand our local transit services to better meet the needs of Glendorans today and in the future. So the Go Glendora Transit Plan is a roadmap for transforming Glendora Transit into a more accessible, connected, and resilient system. It's designed to support our growing population, enhance mobility options, and prepare for the anticipated opening of the Glendora's Metro A-Line station. The plan is the result of a year-long effort grounded in data, community input, and a shared vision for improving quality of life in Glendora. At its core, the plan proposes to redesign our routes to make transit more direct and useful, expand weekday service hours, make critical ADA and rider comfort improvements at our stops, and integrate technologies that will allow for real-time tracking and better service planning. The community involvement was central to this process. Throughout 2024, input was gathered from riders and non-riders through surveys, stakeholder meetings, and community events like Earth Day and Culture Fest. The feedback we received was valuable input that was used to create the plan. It not only shaped the proposed routes, but reaffirmed how essential transit is for students, seniors, workers, and families. We received 255 survey responses, and we're proud to report that 86% of respondents were either satisfied or very satisfied with current services. However, they also voiced that there was a need for improvement of more frequent runs, better coverage, and simplified route names. Many said that they would ride more often if these enhancements were made. So the service redesign is one of the components. The plan proposes 5 new routes. Route 1 is an all-day community shuttle that circulates between key areas like the Glendora Village, Public Market, Finkbeiner Park, City Hall, Lefeture Center, and the future Metro A-Line station. Routes 2 through 5 are school-focused shuttles serving middle and high schools with 2 afternoon trips per day to better meet the students' schedules. To support these changes, the plan identifies the need for 9 vehicles, 5 full-size buses, and 4 smaller cutaways. Currently, we have 2 full-size buses and 3 smaller cutaways. Public Works is in the process of purchasing 2 additional full-size buses with grant funds. It also recommends stop upgrades with ADA-compliant sidewalks, new benches, shaded shelters, waste bins, and updated signage. These physical improvements will ensure that our system is safe, comfortable, and accessible for all riders. On the technology side, we're looking to modernize by implementing automatic vehicle location system and automatic passenger counting. These upgrades will allow us to monitor routes in real time and gather more accurate ridership data, helping us make smarter decisions going forward and offering riders up-to-date service information. While the plan is ready, full implementation will not be until we have first City Council approval, which is anticipated to go to City Council in June. New vehicles received to support the redesigned service, and when the new Metro A-Line station opens. Staff is actively preparing for a phased rollout and pursuing funding opportunities to move forward responsibly and efficiently. At this time, there's no immediate fiscal impact to the city. Operations continue to be supported by Proposition A local return funds. As we move towards implementation, cost estimates and funding options for each component will be brought forward in future reports. And that concludes my report. Be happy to answer any questions.
I have no questions.
Just a couple. Curious as part of the technology portion, did you guys look, or at any point have you looked at replacing the tap card with just tap with debit or credit? I know on Earth Day we were speaking with some of the Metro people, and they said that's on their like radar, just to kind of make it even less friction when you.
Yeah, I know Metro's always looking at stuff like that. We're kind of at their mercy with the tap machines, but we're always looking at upgrades to those. I know Amanda here has been working with Metro to try to upgrade our tap machines in the buses to accept more than just, because right now they only accept 50-cent store value, because that's how much it costs for to ride anywhere in Glendora. So we're trying to get additional programming to be accepted on those tap machines, including the LIFE program, which is for low-income individuals, and they get 20 free rides a month. So we're trying to get that added. So if someone has a LIFE card, they can tap it and ride for free on our dial-a-ride services.
Curious about the shuttle right now. You had it stopping at 8:30, I think. How easy is it for you to extend that or shorten it if the demand is there or isn't there once the A-line kind of starts coming through?
I mean, with the survey that was done, people are more, it seems like they're more interested in riding midday anyway. So, I mean, once we implement the new route, which will go still from, I think it still starts at 6 a.m. and then goes until almost 9 p.m., we'll have to calculate the data of how many people are actually riding, and I'm sure after a year or so, we'll maybe make changes and see what needs to be changed, or if it needs to be extended or shortened, that type of
And
thing.
the only comment is that the AVL probably solves a lot of these issues. I know when riding the bus and not knowing when the next one's getting there, it
Yeah.
always feels longer. So I think that's a great investment. So thank you. Appreciate the information.
Yeah, my questions are similar in that, in terms of like technology. Can we create an app for the city? So if I want to use it and I know where I'm going, I can, do like an Uber, right? I want to just tap in, say, I'm coming to this station, so they know that somebody's there, or use AI from a perspective of saying, obviously you can't have like a button, all right, somebody's at that station, because people walk around, just hit the button all day long, but something that would identify the fact that somebody's at a location, so we know we need to continue to go around, or we know the stops that people are truly at on a more frequent basis, and maybe redesign our routes in that capacity. Is that something, am I way out of whack here, or I just, with technology today, there's so much out there that I would think we could, somehow, something should be created.
I'm sure something like that, and like I said, like each component is going to be looked at individually and working with a company to do the AVL and see what options that they can provide for us when looking at different services.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, like you said, figuring out where people are, where they want to go on a more frequent basis. When does the Metro, when is that supposed to start? Do we know? When is that?
I've been told August, maybe.
They're
but
having a ribbon cutting June.
June 6th, I
Or
think.
something.
Oh, June
5th?
5th
June 5th.
So that's
ribbon
just
cutting.
the ribbon cutting for the station. but
Station.
that the station's
They're,
completed.
and you say, you think August, the regular,
Yeah, because the actual train isn't going to start running until every station
Right,
is
right, it's
completed. Yes.
do we know what's still outstanding? Is it like Pomona or is there, do we?
I'm not sure on that,
Okay.
yeah.
Just curious. Okay, thank you. Thank you, appreciate it.
What is a cutaway van? I've never heard that phrase. What does that mean?
I'm not sure exactly what it means. It's just like one of the bigger like it's not a minivan, but it's not like the huge bus. I don't know if you've
So-
seen the like mid-size vans that we
Okay.
have.
They hold like, say, 12, 15 people, like that? Okay.
Yeah.
It's the one I believe we took for,
Oh, for
The
Christmas
lights.
lights?
Christmas
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Okay, that helps, thanks.
Uh-huh.
I'm wondering if that or the full-size bus, if they can hold bicycles in any way. Because then I'm wondering like if there would be, just to promote use of bikes around the city and then also get people to the new South Hills bike
I'm
park.
pretty sure, and don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure they all have bike racks on the very front.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right. That perhaps could be a stop in the future then at
Yeah.
the new park.
possibly, yes.
Okay, that's all I had. Thanks again
Thank you.
we'll see you a little later, right?
Yeah.
Can we get a motion to accept the report?
Motion to accept.
I can second that.
So motion was made by Commissioner Louis Porche, seconded by Commissioner Kotowski. I will open up so that you guys can vote. Motion carries 4-0.
Recreation summer events, special events, and activities. At this time, I'd like to invite Recreation Coordinator Jasmine Rosas to report.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Jasmine Rosas, and I am the Recreation Coordinator, and I'll be presenting on the summer special events and activities. So to start off summer, we will kick it off with Kid Palooza, and it will take place on Friday, June 6th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Finkbeiner Park softball fields. This fun-filled event will host inflatables, amusement rides, music, food, and other fun attractions for ages 12 and under. Participants may purchase wristbands in the main office here at City Hall or at the Teen Center for $15 prior to the event or $20 for the day of. We also have Dirt Camp as well. This year we'll be celebrating the 74th year, so it's been a long-standing tradition, and it will continue to be a cornerstone of Glendora's summer programs. So it will run from Monday, June 9th through Friday, August 1st, and it will host approximately 80 campers. Campers will enjoy hiking, crafts, archery, and weekly swim meets at the Glendora High School. Lunch is also provided daily by the Glendora Unified School District. We also have the hut. So the Finkbeiner hut will continue to thrive and provide sports equipment to visitors during visitors at Finkbeiner Park. During the summer, the Finkbeiner hut will be open daily from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. from June 9th through August 1st. We will also have a co-ed pickleball league. So this league will operate from June 10th through August 12th, each Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the Finkbeiner pickleball courts. Participants will be able to enhance their skills and stay active. So it's another great addition to our activities. We'll also have summer t-ball as well. So it will return for its second season, and it will run from June 17th through July 17th on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. for ages 4 to 6. This 5-week program will emphasize skills development in a fun and supportive environment, and the registration fee of $100, which will include a team shirt. More activities to add on. So we have a new contract instructor, which is the YMCA of Orange County. And the classes that are going to be provided are Safe at Home, First Aid, CPR, AED, and Safe Sitter Essentials. The Safe at Home will occur on June 19th, July 22nd, and August 7th. This class will teach safety skills for children who may need to be home alone, especially during the summer. So they'll be able to learn safe habits, emergency responses, and injury assessment. It'll occur from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. and it'll be for ages 9 through 11, and it'll be $60. Another class which is the First Aid CPR AED. It will be June 26th through July 31st and August 21st. This will be provided by the American Red Cross First Aid CPR and AED program. So this will teach participants on how to respond to cardiac situations, breathing, and first aid emergencies. They will also be able to receive a certificate after, so that's a great thing as well too. It'll be from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and it'll be Ages Plus, and it'll be for $100. And for Safe Sitter Essentials, this will essentially prepare students for some alone safety and babysitting. Again, especially during the summer, this is something that hopefully some families will be able to actually lean on when it comes to, vacation and or if people are staying, any students that might be staying home alone. So they'll be able to learn injury response, choking, rescue, and safety skills. This will occur from 10 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., ages 9 through 11, and it's $110. We'll also have concerts in the park. So this summer's Concerts in the Park series will run from Sundays from June 22nd through August 3rd. It will be held at Finkbeiner Park, and these family-friendly concerts will feature live music and food provided by T4G volunteers. This series is co-sponsored by Glendora's Kiwanis Club and the Transportation Department. Next, we have movies in the park. So starting Friday, July 11th through August 8th, this year's movie series is co-sponsored by Glendora's Rotary Club, and it will feature weekly outdoor films with concessions available for purchase. The final movie night will coincide with Police Night Out on August 9th. So we do also have 2 additional summer activities as well that we're very excited to have. We have Summer Slumber and Ultimate Game Night. The Summer Slumber is a program that will take place on Friday, July 18th at the American Legion building, and we will essentially have creative activities for girls aged 5 through 8 at 11 a.m. to 3:30 and ages 9 through 12 from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. It'll be $60, and participants will be able to enjoy making bracelets, hairstyling, nail art. They'll have pizza, snacks, and we'll be able to conclude the night by enjoying Moana 2 for our Friday movie night. And then the Ultimate Game Night will be on Saturday, July 19th at the Teen Center, and this will be for boys aged 8 through 12 from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Activities include video games, laser tags, air hockey, food, and a whole lot of fun. So it will be $60 per participant, and we're really excited for that one as well. And lastly, July is Parks and Recreation Month, and this year's theme is Build Together, Play Together. And for the month of July, we are highlighting the power of community, collaboration, and outdoor fun. This month, and Parks and Recreation Month, encourages people of all ages to come together to improve and enjoy public spaces, from building better parks to playing games and bring neighbors closer. The City of Glendora's Recreation Human Services Department embraces the Build Together, Play Together theme yearly by fostering community engagement through various activities. Events like Kidpalooza, concerts and movies in the park, Trails Day, Easter egg hunt, and the continued success of Dirt Camp further exemplify our dedication to creating inclusivity, fun, and enriching recreational opportunities for all. And that concludes my report. I'll be more than happy to take any questions.
No questions, just excited for the upcoming events. And well, actually, no questions. Good, thanks.
Are any of the movies at Gladstone Park this year? Are they all at Finkbeiner this year?
No, they're all at Finkbeiner this year. Last year they were previously at Gladstone, but I know that this year we're going to have them at Finkbeiner and kind of have them there for this summer.
Just curious if there was a reason why we kind of focused just on the Finkbeiner portion this year. Is it cost? Is it attendance?
No, it was, last year we partnered with Flags of the Heroes, Field of Heroes, and with Rotary that runs that, so they asked us to have a movie. But this year, July 4th being on a Friday,
Yeah.
we decided we wouldn't have staff there, so that's why our movies have always been at Finkbeiner. It's just an easier setup for us and and it works better for all of what we have to do on the setup portion of it. We were looking at one time to buy a mobile stage, which then would allow us to do concerts and movies down there. That has not come, and I don't even know, I think it's not on the budget anymore to do other activities down there. But they can look at that in coming years with that other program. Our attendance was very light that day, but being July 4th weekend and that, but we're trying to it's just an easier use of the Finkbeiner Park Band Shell area.
And then it feels weird to talk a year out, but obviously you said Dirt Camp is in 74 this year, 75
Yes.
next year.
Yes.
How long does it take to start doing any special celebration around that or any special promotion? Are you already looking at it or? do you
Yeah,
wait for the
so I know I've been talking with Annie as well. We were really starting to try to think for the 75th year. It's essentially, we're trying to think of different ways. Of course, this is very, very early on, nothing that's been definitive, but, if it's something, since we do have a lot of people that have not possibly been a camper once previously, so maybe try to see show your support, maybe like a little reunion of some sorts. I know we do also have like a parent night, so I don't know if that's something that we could try to have involved as well too, but it's never too early to plan, so that's something that we're hoping to kind of have for that 75th year, which is a great accomplishment to have.
Yeah, it's an incredible accomplishment. Also, kudos to everyone on the staff for keeping the price down. I think it's the highlight of our summer as a parent. It's the best week, so thank you for doing that. No further questions.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for the report. A lot of fun new things that you guys have incorporated, and I'm thrilled to see that. Looks like we're continuing to look outside the box, find new adventures and new things for our youth. So happy to see that and continued success on those things. Two quick questions. Since we've opened up the hut, how has that been received? Are we getting a good response for people down there, or is the worker just really just there? I mean, are they actually being active?
For the most part, when we do discuss these items with staff, of course, when it's like extreme weather, when it's heat and or rain or potential, sometimes that's when we know, obviously, the participation is a little bit less because any anticipation of any sort of weather, no parent is going to want to take their kid out to do any of those activities. But when we do have it running and functioning, staff have said nope, I'm checking balls out. I'm checking things out. It is something where there is a very high, response rate during the week and during the weekends as well too. So it should increase then during the summer.
Do you do anything to track it? Like, for instance, how many times people are checking out a ball versus asking for some other form of activity to kind of get a feel for what the community is looking for? I don't know if that's something worth considering, or if it's too time consuming that it would not be helpful. Just curious.
Yeah, we can definitely have something. I know we could try to see if there's any response from the community, if there's any additional things that we could add on, but definitely something to.
I was just curious if that's something of that nature. And then how is the respect level of the use of the equipment, right? I mean, are we continuously having to replace things because people are taking them or they're abusing them? I mean, are we running into any issues there, out of curiosity?
No, not to
No?
my knowledge of
Okay.
anything for the most part. I know when I was first learning a lot of it and I was asking, I was like, people actually return these items. But yeah, most of the time staff have said that they do a pretty good job of using it and returning it. And that's, just if it's a child, they're really good about knowing to bring it back as well as, the parents as well too.
No, that's great news, because if you were to go downtown and you were to see the golf and all of those, that's a challenge. Obviously, it's not monitored, but, so that's good news. So good, I'm glad that that's back and functioning. The other question that I have is, where did I write it here? Sorry. The safety programs. Oh, no, it was the enrollment. There was the two, what was it, the softball, the t-ball, and what was it was the pickleball, right? The enrollment in that, is that? I can't imagine that has not got a wait list, right?
It does. So we've been offering pickleball with a contract instructor at Dawson. We received a lot of requests that we offer pickleball at Finkbeiner.
Okay,
And so that is being staff-led. So we have a Robert Fleming, who is super involved in Glendora, used to be a Glendora
Right.
soccer president. He was the one who said, I'll help you guys, or kind of teach how to do this. So we do have a recreation staff on site. For the summer one, I'm actually enrolled and it's full. There's a waiting list. For this summer, it's on Tuesday nights, I believe, at Finkbeiner, and it's been really popular. And they've arranged it differently than the ones at Dawson. People felt the ones at Dawson are more competitive. And
Right.
the people there are pretty good. And so they're intimidated, apparently, but those classes are full too. So I just think it's finding the right group for you. So I think the ones at Dawson are great for the ones who are really diehard pickleball people, but for those people who are wanting to learn and it's more recreation based, it seems the one at Finkbeiner is a good fit.
I would think that this could kind of take the place of what used to be like a softball league, right? Where people would play on a Friday nights or whatever at different levels, right? You have beginners, you have intermediate, you have your hardcore, you have singles, you have doubles that would take up, but I don't imagine we can do that from a perspective of then there's no free time for the pickleball courts to be used by,
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be there every night, but
Right.
there are signs posted saying on Tuesday from, I believe, 6 to 8, it's a city class.
right?
And they're utilizing the one court. So it seems to work just fine. And then some people who were there, they're like, oh, the first time the go around, then that people signed up. He had the sign there, the
Right.
flyer with the QR code,
Yeah.
and he got people to register.
Oh, I would imagine.
And it's a different kind of setup. He has it
The
where
ladder.
it's the ladder, yeah. And everyone has a card, and you get points, so you play everybody. So it's some system that he explained to me, and I was like, he told me I'll figure it out once I start playing. But yeah,
No, when I saw that, I thought that was apropos for what we've done, right? We've created these courts. Everybody has made this popular. I think it just tells us that we need to figure out ways to increase that type of opportunity within the city, whether it's up at Goddard, whether it's at the high school, something. I know we get pushback from the fact that, oh, you're taking our tennis courts away. Why don't you find places where you can put these without removing a tennis court? But without the space, it's kind of hard. But this is something that I think is very viable from youth all the way up to, older age, because it's not as strenuous and yet it's competitive and fun. So, no, that's
what's
great.
nice about that T-ball, the summer slumber, the boys' night is it's all staff-led. So we're trying to find ways to utilize our recreation staff and the skills and talents they have and use them our contract instructors are great, but have a mix of our staff and contract instructors.
How about volunteers from like T4G or other volunteers? Do you reach out to get volunteers to maybe help be additional support, like, from any of our Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts?
I'm sure they'll
other
help
programs?
with probably the boys' night and the slumber, but you still have to have a paid recreation.
No, correct. I
person,
was
like
just-
taking the lead.
Yes, I was just thinking of as just additional help if you get.
But I would imagine, I know for the Taylor Swift camp, they did use T4G. There was a couple of those kids who did volunteer.
Awesome. No, that's great. Thank you very much.
For movie nights this year, will you be partnering with any groups for individual movies?
Yes, for the individual movies, we are partnering with it is co-sponsored by the Rotary Club, and then we are having the different leagues for each of the weeks. So the Lassie leagues, they have already been contacted as well, so they know which ones they're going to be kind of showing in support of for each week.
Very good, yeah. I think that was pretty successful last time you did that. So I'm glad you're continuing that. Wonderful. No, thanks, that was it. I'm looking I love this time of year. You have so many things going on and
Hard to keep track.
yeah, but it's a great portfolio that you're offering, so thank you.
And then in the next couple weeks, we'll be sending out for announcements for our concerts in the park.
Yep.
We'll be sending that out to the commission too, so you can sign up for what ones.
I was going to say, I think we should have a party.
Wait, hold on. Are we judging 80s was the best decade of all time, next to the 70s and maybe the 60s, but the 80s was the time. Okay. So putting my bid in.
All right, fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, can we get a motion to accept the report?
I will motion.
I'll second it.
So motion has been made by Commissioner Louis Borche, seconded by Vice Chair. I'll open up for a vote. Motion carries 4-0.
Budget and Capital Improvement Program for fiscal years 2025 through 2027. I'd like to invite, come on up, Kelsey.
All right. Third time's the charm.
Okay, this is my last one for tonight. Okay, so now I'll be presenting the budget and CIP projects for fiscal years 25-26 and 26-27. What will be presented tonight will be what is going to council for approval on June 10th. So this is not approved just yet. There will be a special city council meeting prior to the regular 7 o'clock meeting where they'll do a budget workshop and talk about everything in depth. And then at the regular meeting, they will approve the budget. So first I'll talk about personnel. Personnel within the department has remained consistent with some minor changes. Some positions have either been added or changed since last budget cycle already. The Human Services and Outreach Coordinator position has been replaced with a Human Services Supervisor to better reflect the job duties and experience that the current employee has. The Management Analyst position has been replaced with the Senior Management Analyst due to the department absorbing part of the Transportation Division and additional work that will be required of the employee currently in the position. Within this new budget, we're asking for additional hours allocated towards Recreation Specialist 2 and Recreation Aid, both for the LaFeature Center, due to increase in rentals and programming. An additional Recreation Specialist 2 was also added in the Recreation Division to have an in-house dance instructor. For the operating budget that's being presented for each division, it's taken into account for inflation rates for goods and services that have been rising. The expenditures also include requests that we've asked for this year, which include extra money to host the Community Recognition Awards that will now be ran out of our department 2 times per year. Also reupholstering the banquet chairs for the Legion building rentals. Additional money for Culture Fest and additional staff hours that were requested for the dance teacher. Revenues are expected to generally stay the same with some increases due to the anticipation of that new instructor being hired, and as well as per player fees being paid for by the youth leagues, with all of that revenue coming to the city. Here you can see a breakdown of how our department is funded by funding source and where our revenue goes to. So we're mostly funded out of the general fund, but we do have some funding coming out of Prop A and Measure E. That capital projects $10,000 amount is for a cleaning machine that we're going to be purchasing for Louis Pompey. So our staff will be now cleaning the restrooms. So it's a special machine that cleans and sanitizes everything in the restrooms. Most of our revenue does go into the general fund. That comes from payments for classes, facilities, and picnic rentals. We do have a few other revenue sources, which includes Measure A maintenance and servicing money, which is the reimbursement program through LA County, where they pay us back for some of the maintenance at the teen center, since it was originally built with Measure A funds. Under the 2025-2026 revenue for Measure A, there is a substantially higher amount because that includes funds that we're anticipating from Measure A annual allocation grant that we receive, and we're hoping to use part of that to pay for some of the South Hills Bike Park project. New this year, we also have a lot more money in Prop A Transit. So a little bit of background on that. With multiple vacancies in the Transportation Division, the Recreation and Human Services Department has absorbed part of that division. So the Transportation Division was previously in our department, but was moved to Community Development in 2019. So the city, now that everyone that worked in that department has left for other positions in somewhere else, the city decided to split up the duties of the Transportation Division into different departments that made more sense. So anything CIP projects, grants, fleet, bus stop improvements has been moved to Public Works. And our department has taken over day-to-day operations, which includes management of the dial-a-ride and shuttle services, dial-a-ride applications, reduced fare tap applications, tap card sales, financial reporting, and the implementation of the short-range transit plan. This restructuring allows for more efficient delivery of services and better alignment of transit responsibilities across the departments. So for capital improvement projects, there are several projects that have been completed during this budget cycle and since my last budget update. The Port in Place surfacing at South Hills, Ole Hammer, and Willow Springs parks was completed in December of 2024, and all parks were reopened to the public by January of 2025. The photo you see here on the slide is at Ole Hammer Park. Another project that was completed was the Teen Center interior improvements. These improvements included new carpet, restroom partitions, countertops, ceiling tiles, and interior paint throughout the facility. The LaFetra Center also got a facelift, with many improvements being completed through the grant that was received through the United Way of Greater Los Angeles. The grant was to support neighborhood spaces, providing our unhoused neighbors with access to service-rich spaces, meaningful engagement, and support networks that can dramatically change the outcome of their lives and connect them to pathways and permanent housing. So this grant money was used to install carpet for the historic building, new chairs, computer lab partitions, exterior gutters, exterior and interior paint for the historic building, a remodel of the historic kitchen, reupholster existing computer lab chairs, new fixtures in the hallway and computer lab, and update to electrical and water lines in the kitchen, as well as new blinds for the computer lab and the kitchen. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. The kitchen looks great. A few other upcoming CIP projects. We have a bunch on the books, but just to highlight a few, the American Legion Building restroom remodel. The Legion Building is rented for events throughout the year and used heavily throughout the week for contract classes. So this project will replace the toilets, urinals, sinks, partitions, and tiles in both the men's and the women's restrooms. Scout Hut improvements involves installing new cabinets, countertops, sinks in the kitchen area, as well as the replacement of the 2 3-ton rooftop air conditioning units. The Parks and Trails Master Plan has not been updated since 2011, so we'll be releasing an RFP for a consultant to do a comprehensive plan that includes an inventory of existing conditions of parks, facilities, trails, and recreation resources. And having an update of this will help us apply for more grants to be able to get money to make improvements. The Teen Center Playground Replacement and Resurfacing project has already been started. A company has been chosen, so staff is working with Dave Bang, Associates of California, to choose the best playground for that area and get it ordered. And the plan is to have the construction work begin at the end of summer. The Gladstone Park shade structure is budgeted for this upcoming fiscal year. The shade structure will be similar to the one at Finkbeiner Park and will be right next to where the future urban trail will go through the park, just close by the restroom buildings. And another one I don't have on this slide, but I wanted to mention is the teen center bleacher and sound panel replacement. The sound panels are being worked on right now and should be completed soon. And then the bleachers have been ordered and are anticipated to be installed in July. So the teen center gym will be closed for 1 week, and then that'll all be completed. And that concludes my report. If anyone has any questions.
Just a comment, outstanding. I mean, the measure and the amount of attention to detail that you have for each of these measures. Obviously, it's a team effort, but very, very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one question. When you mentioned the American Legion building that you rent out and it is in need of some maintenance, how often do you guys look at the fee schedule and like the rental rates, and where are you kind of in that process? Is it time for a small increase given the increase in the CPI, or are we just kind of holding steady, or how does that look?
I think if I'm not mistaken, we updated it a year or two ago, if you remember. Yeah. Yeah, we updated it a year or two ago. I know Annie did some research of some surrounding cities, and we still wanted to remain affordable, but also kind of, to make a little bit of money. So we did raise our per hour a little bit, and I think we raised it a little bit more for like corporate groups, and we did raise the staff fee since minimum wage keeps going up.
Still want to keep it affordable. I was just curious where it kind of fit. Obviously, you have to maintain the things, and especially if it's so popular, it's going to
Yes.
get more wear and tear than if it was sitting empty. So thank
Definitely.
you for the answer to that.
Quick questions. So with the Glen Oaks Golf Course being so popular and being facilitated by many Glendorians, I noticed that we get our $150,000 as part of our rental fee. Is that something that we can renegotiate since they're making a boatload of money now?
So we're in a contract with them where we receive a certain amount in rent every month. So I think per year right now we get around $94,000, and then once they reach a certain amount of revenue that they bring in, we get, I believe it's 6% of whatever they make over that. So each year they give us a financial report with all of their revenues for the year and expenditures, and cut us a check. So a lot of times it's more than $150,000.
Nice.
We just don't know exactly what to anticipate. We know it'll be at least 94 plus some. So yeah, at the end of the year, then we kind of see what the actuals are.
No, that's good. I mean, it's since COVID has really bloomed, and I know they haven't started. I thought they were supposed to start the remodel for the little putting, and most specifically, they were going to start first with the building of the restaurant area or whatnot. Has that been? Do you know? since
They're
I
in
fired-
the permitting process right now, the design and permitting.
Okay, so it's just not quite to the time frame that they were hoping.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's still the plan though, to get that in.
And then my last question is City Council? I know City Council supports you guys in a lot of ways. Are they still very supportive in helping you from a perspective of hiring and keeping a staff level that you feel is required and necessary? Or have they been a little less forgiving in that regards just based on fiscal responsibility?
I think they have.
Yeah, they've been super, really anything we ask, with staffing wise, we've received, so we have no complaints there.
Oh, that's good, just because of everything that you guys do, the amount of time that it takes, you guys being here at late at night, you being on weekends and the evening times, and helping out with all the events. And the fact that you guys bring in a lot of money to the city, so when they do their budget, they can offset it through a lot of the revenue. It's good to know that they are very supportive in whatever help you guys need.
I don't know if we could hire any more. We don't have, Jasmine's in a closet that we used to use.
Yeah, we're out of
So
space.
we're out of space. That's why even here at City Hall, we're going to be moving over to the Transportation Center in the next month or two to allow City Clerk to move here. And we'll do a shuffle of City Hall. But yes, that's one of the things here within the city. We are very space short in that. So we'll be moving some people around in that.
Well, no, that's good to hear. Like I said, for all that you do and the amount of time and effort. So, no, thank you. Appreciate it. That's
Thank
good.
you.
Good. All good information.
At the State of the City event a week or two ago, they mentioned something about pickleball courts at Gladstone. Is that anywhere on the plan you just presented? In the timeline?
Yes, so hopefully, so it's dependent on if we get grant funding for it. So I did apply for a grant through the Office of Grants and Local Services through their outdoor recreation, it's like a acronym that I know, ORLIP, but I don't remember, Outdoor Recreation Legacy Program, I think it stands for. They were supposed to announce awards at the end of April, but instead they send out an email that they're pausing the program for now. It's not canceled, they just don't know when they'll be able to award funds. And they didn't give any background, so I'm not really sure why it was paused, but hopefully we get the funds through that program. If not, I will keep applying for other grants for it. So I think the cost estimate was around 1.3 million. So definitely need some grant money to pay for that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, can I get a motion to accept the report?
Motion to
Accept?
accept.
To receive and file.
I'll second it.
The motion has been made by Commissioner Kwiatkowski, seconded by Vice Chair Gerber. I'll open up for the vote. Motion carries 4-0.
Excuse me, Older Americans Month Report. At this time, I'd like to invite Human Services Supervisor Rachel Oros to report.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. So every May, the Administration for Community Living leads the observance for Older Americans Month. This year's theme is Flip the Script on Aging, which focuses on transforming how society perceives, talks about, and approaches aging. It encourages individuals and communities to challenge stereotypes and dispel misconceptions. So the LaFeature Center has a robust array of activities, including several fitness classes such as Tai Chi, balance and mobility, flexibility training, cardio and strength training, senior yoga, senior strength, country line dancing, and ping pong. Those interested in arts and crafts can attend Beading Buddies, Nuts About Needlepoint, the Sewing Guild, Quilting Therapy, Patch Pin and Pearl. Those interested in broadening their worldview through others' perspectives can participate in the Current Events Discussion Group, the International Community Club, Sharing Memories, or the Book Discussion Group. We also have a number of support groups with heavy socialization elements to help combat isolation, including Journey Through Grief, After Stroke, and IDOS, which is an acronym for Eye Diseases Are Serious. It's a support group for the visually impaired. Our classes include the Apple, iPhone, and iPad classes and art programs that we've had recently in conjunction with the Glendora Public Library, which kind of help promote connection through engagement and learning. Trips and excursions foster new connections among participants and promote lifelong learning and cultural engagement throughout the region. And then our services, particularly the congregate lunch program with the YWCA, are an immense help in fostering connection between older adults of all backgrounds in the community. Pardon me. All of the services at the LaFetra Center, such as the legal clinic, YWCA case management, nutrition, and more, help older adults to obtain essential services for free so that they can more easily age in place with dignity and security. So every aging experience is different, and the interests of the older adults in the community vary widely. And it's important to us at the LaFetra Center that each unique activity have in common the qualities of togetherness and connection. So we strive to promote meaningful social connection, physical fitness, nutrition, intellectual stimulation, and an engagement in arts and culture through a variety of activities. So vocational, emotional, social, intellectual, and physical activity opportunities, amongst many other things. The older adults at our LaFetra Center dispel negative stereotypes of aging every day through their active participation in our activities, their contributions to the community both in a volunteer and social capacity, and their willingness to embrace change and try new things. So to honor, I'm sorry I don't have a picture from last year. I couldn't find like a really good one. There was a lot of like food and stuff. So, but anyway, to honor the older adults in our community, in our vibrant community, the LaFetra Center will host the annual Older Americans Luncheon a week from today on Thursday, May 22nd from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. The Older Americans Proclamation will be read by City Council. The Older Americans Award through the Administration for Community Living will be presented as well. And this concludes. Does anybody have any questions?
No questions.
I just have a statement. Again, what you guys do down there for our seniors is just amazing. I wish more of them would allow themselves to enjoy it and not be stuck in their ways of the shell of not wanting to go out and be a part of things, because what you guys have to offer, and I when I see and talk to those that are part of it, I just see that their lives are that much more enriched and fulfilled by the activities, the socialization, right, instead of the isolation, which unfortunately as we get older, that's what they feel they want to have. So great job with this. So.
Thank you.
Just one question about the activities. Do you have like a top 3 attended activities that you're currently doing that you'd love to like double down on and do more, or anything that's maybe not as well attended that you'd like to shift out moving forward? And how often do you look at that?
Yes, I'll touch on attendance a little bit more in my next presentation, but just to answer your question, the most highly attended of our regular activities, so not like a special event, because our events obviously generate more attendance, is bingo, which we have every Friday, which is unsurprising. We have anywhere between like 80 to 100 people coming every Friday for bingo. It's very, very intense. It's very serious. And people are very dedicated. We have like to give you an idea, all of the senior centers or community centers that have bingo in the San Gabriel Valley generally try to have bingo on different days of the week so that we're not in competition with one another, because it is so popular. So Sandy misses Tuesdays, I think Walnuts Wednesdays. Like people really kind of, so bingo's extremely popular. That's very well attended. We're obviously always trying to like encourage new engagement and new participation, but at a certain point, we just don't have the space in the room. The way that our bingo is set up, there's a lot of equipment. There's big rolling TVs, and it's not like, brewery bingo where you just roll and the balls spit out. There's like a casino-sized machine, so we don't have room for like. The max capacity is 200 people in that room, but we don't have room for 200 people just with mobility equipment and stuff that the participants have. And then the actual bingo equipment takes a lot of space. So generally like 130 is our kind of maximum for the room. So that's really well attended. Our lunch program is very well attended. Post-COVID, we were having kind of low attendance just because a lot of seniors still weren't super comfortable engaging in like really close contact, especially eating and things like that. In recent months especially, we've had an uptick, I've noticed. We used to have anywhere between around 20 to 30 participants at lunch. And it would depend on what we had going on that day. So on bingo days, for example, more participation because people come to eat and then they stay to play bingo. And then on Thursdays, when it's a little bit more quiet, not as many. But generally speaking now, we have about anywhere from 35 to 45 participants a day. So it's increased by like 10 to 15 participants. And that's even on our Thursdays. And I'll kind of touch on why, but we've introduced a lot of new fitness classes. And I think that is part of the increase. And then our very large support groups are IDOS and Afterstroke. We just had our Afterstroke walk and roll, and that was pretty well attended. They have around, I would say, probably 35 people in the group, and then IDOS has another anywhere from like 30 to 50 people, depending on the meeting. They have 3 local chapters, so sometimes people from the Covina chapter come to us, and vice versa. So it's hard to say exactly. But those are really popular, and then our fitness classes are super popular. That is in very, very high demand amongst all of our seniors. That is what every single new fitness class we've introduced has sold out or maxed out. As far as activities that are lower enrollment, some of our card games and crafting groups are a little bit smaller, just depending, Bridge being the exception. Bridge is very well attended. It's very competitive. But some of our smaller groups like Canasta, and then we have Party Bridge, which is sort of a casual one. There isn't anything in place at this time to reevaluate those programs. Despite what I mentioned about obviously our seniors being willing to embrace change and try new things, if it's not broken, we don't try to fix it. So a lot of times, like, if the 8 people coming to play Pinochle twice a week are perfectly happy with exactly how Pinochle is happening, and, a new person might come and whatever, and it's like, we're not going to move them to another room that has more space if they're, if they like the room they're in, it's cozy, it's a historic house. So a lot of them like the kind of intimate feel. If a group does start to outgrow their space, I have a conversation with them about moving to a different, time and space and all that. And then the only programs that we haven't really canceled any programs recently due to like low enrollment. The only thing that's not super well attended is sometimes our workshops and presentations that we have from outside agencies that come and give information. And I think that's topic dependent. We had one last year that had like 45 attendees, and it was about downsizing and decluttering, which is clearly like a very popular topic amongst this older generation who has accumulated a lifetime of stuff. And then, sometimes we have a Medicare 101 and people are like, I know that already, like I don't need to come. So sometimes those are a bust and we don't get any registrations for them. Sometimes we fill the room. So it's a case-by-case basis, but no plans to kind of reevaluate our smaller programming at this time. A lot of it is very community-led. So if the group is happy, we're happy. If the group wants a change, we'll try and make the change. So
Sounds good, thanks.
Thank you.
thank you.
Can we get a motion to accept the report?
I'll motion to accept.
I'll second that.
A motion was made by Vice Chair Gerber, seconded by Commissioner Louis Porcher. I will open up for a vote. Motion carries 4-0.
LaFetra Summer Programs and Events. Go for it, Rachel.
Hello again. So at this time, I'll be speaking on the classes, services, groups, clubs, day trips, and events at the LaFetra Center. To give you a brief recap of Winter Spring, because I know I normally give this presentation in March, in the Winter Spring 2025 season, the LaFetra Center had 29 groups, clubs, and services.
11 classes, 8 trips, and 4 events. For the upcoming summer 2025 season, we have approximately 7 trips, pending Hollywood Bowl tickets, 2 events, and all of our regularly scheduled groups, clubs, classes, and services. So our ongoing services include the daily nutrition program with the YWCA, the monthly food bank, monthly legal clinic, monthly notary service, provided by Hilltop Real Estate, and weekly case management services provided by the YWCA. As I mentioned, our nutrition program has anywhere from 35 to 45 attendees daily. And then a sort of a special service we only have part of the year. From February through April of 2025, we hosted a free tax preparation and filing provided by the AARP. This program had approximately 300 participants over 12 weeks. So it was very, very well attended. We had about 25 more people than last year, which isn't like a big jump, but again, you can only have so many appointments. And now on to our groups, clubs, and classes. So most programs at the LaFeature Center are ongoing, including all card games, crafting groups, discussion groups, and classes. Some of the most popular services, like I mentioned, are our nutrition lunch program, bingo, the after stroke support group, bridge, ping pong, Sing for Joy, and Tai Chi. We've introduced new fitness classes, such as senior strength and senior yoga, that have been very popular as well. And then the learn to use your iPhone and iPad classes remain quite popular, with upcoming class topics such as apps and notifications about safety, health, medications, and wellness in the Apple Health app, and life activities and appointments in the Apple Calendar. Those are our intermediate classes. The beginners are more just basic functions. The LaFeature Center has continued its partnership with Citrus College to provide free fitness classes. Spring classes included flexibility training for older adults and cardio and strength training. And this summer, we are going to repeat flexibility training for older adults before introducing new curriculum in the fall. The new curriculum will be senior fitness and nutrition. So there'll be a fitness element along with nutrition element from the instructor who has, I believe, a master's in nutrition. Don't quote me on that. But he has a degree. He's legitimate. I mentioned in my last report the development of a fitness class provided by Village Fitness and Physical Therapy of Glendora. That came to fruition. That's our senior strength class I mentioned. It was introduced in March, and it's been a huge success. We have about 40 enrollees and very strong demand to repeat the class. So I'm working with the instructor at this time to get that scheduled, hopefully for the fall. And then trips. So as I mentioned, 8 trips from January through May of 2025. Participants toured the Palm Springs Air Museum, visited Fantasy Springs Casino, the Broad Museum and Philippe the Original, toured the historic Mission Inn, the Huntington Library Art Museum and Botanical Gardens, and saw Vicki Lawrence and Mama, a 2-woman show, at the Ha Performing Arts Center at Citrus College. Participants also went on a tour with local guide Kurt Tucker called Roaring Twenties, which explored the arts, architecture, and culture that shaped Los Angeles in the 1920s. Later this month, they're going to tour the Getty Center. And then upcoming summer trips include Harrah's Casino, another Kurt Tucker tour that features Frank Lloyd Wright's Hollyhock House, and the Laguna Pageant of the Masters. Also included in summer trips will be the multiple excursions to see the Los Angeles Philharmonic at the Hollywood Bowl. Dates are to be determined. We usually find that out in about like mid to late June. And then events. So at the start of the year, we had our annual Health and Wellness Fair on February 20th. We had 23 unique vendors, along with services like blood pressure and blood sugar screenings, mental health screenings, and hearing tests. We had our volunteer social, and then which is kind of a smaller, more casual private event for our volunteers, just to kind of mingle and meet each other because there isn't always crossover. If you work the desk on a Monday morning, you're never going to meet the person who works on a Thursday afternoon. So just to get them kind of more mingling and, learn about what everybody does. We just had our volunteer recognition, which is our luncheon to honor the many volunteers that are essential to the LaFetra Center. This was this past Friday, May 9th. The Ruth Harper Award was presented at this event to our very deserving recipient, Anna Calvin. And like I said, I mentioned this in my last report just a moment ago, but our Older Americans Luncheon will be on May 22nd and will include the Older Americans Proclamation, award, tasty food, and live music. And then in the summer, we'll have our annual picnic with the Habit Burger Truck on Friday, June 13th. We're going to have live music with a pop rock band from Citrus College, lawn games, and raffle prizes. And then towards the end of summer, beginning of fall season, we'll have our Taste of Travel, which will be on Saturday, September 6th. This free event is an opportunity for the travel companies that we work with to showcase their upcoming domestic and international tours. And beyond that, we're looking forward to a busy and exciting fall season with all of our usual stuff. So, any questions?
I love it. No questions.
You got my question last time. I asked it one slide too soon, so thank you for that. But it is great to see not just going out to Hollywood Bowl and the Getty, but also incorporating all the local community colleges and the things in the San Gabriel Valley and especially local to Glendora. I think it's great to include that as well.
No, I don't have any. Again, just kudos to everything you guys do at the Senior Center. It's amazing.
Thank you.
What's the utilization rate on your trips? Like, do they sell out, or how does that, could you like, if you had the funds and help, could you double some of them, or?
In terms of popularity, we could double some by demand. The trick is busing. That is always the tricky part. Certain trips are almost a guaranteed sellout. The Pageant of the Masters is extremely popular. We sell out every single year. Most casino trips are very well attended. I used to do one a year, and we now do 3 because the demand is so high. So every season, and we survey all of our participants. So aside from the regularly scheduled trips in the summer, like the Hollywood Bowl and the Pageant of the Masters that we just do by default, every single trip we do is by participant suggestion. So they fill out a little comment card at the end of every trip, and they suggest what snacks they want, where they want to go. Sometimes it's a little bit of kind of an echo chamber, because if you survey people who go on casinos, they just want to go on more casino trips. If you survey people who go to plays, they want more arts and culture. So, but it's still good feedback, and people go on trips with other cities and give me information. Sometimes the ones that aren't as popular are performing arts ones, and then museums. I think it depends on the time of year, the price point, things like that. Sometimes I think something's going to be extremely popular and it just flops. And then I did the Huntington Gardens 2 years ago, and we barely had anybody, and then I tried it again, and it was more than halfway full, so it's an improvement. So it just depends. As of late, we haven't had enough interest in any of our trips to include a whole nother bus and double attendance. The cost of busing has outpaced the cost of excursions over the last couple of years. So even if I could, it's basically free for me to send people to a casino other than the bus. So two groups going to a casino is quite costly for busing. So that's an issue. We did have a slight increase in our bus budget for the next fiscal year, so that'll help. We can spend more trip money because of that. The other ones that are really popular are Kurt Tucker tours, because his are really custom and unique. So constantly evaluating the attendance of all the tours and what's popular, what's not, trying to do all of the participant suggestions when feasible. Sometimes the venue doesn't allow a charter bus, and it's just like, it's a no-go. But if something is a total failure, I generally kind of just leave it, and then we'll try and reintroduce it like maybe several years down the line when we have a new crop of travelers. So I don't push it if they don't like it. We've stopped doing the Angels-Dodgers Freeway Series game for the summers because I think the costs and the heat and all of that, and it just, just wasn't a fan favorite. So
Okay. Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, we get a motion to accept the report.
I'll make a motion to accept that, and I'm going to say it
Second.
correctly this time. I'm not going to stutter over my words.
Okay, so we have a motion made by Commissioner Kotowski, seconded by Louis Porcher. I will open up for votes. Motion carries 4-0.
Member and staff closing comments. Would you like to lead us off?
Thank you. First and foremost, I just want to wish a happy belated Mother's Day to all of the moms and mother-like figures, earth and heaven, as we celebrate them and the work that we as parents do. We have a holiday coming up, Memorial Day, so hopefully everyone has some plans to do something safe and fun in memory. And then Father's Day, wishing all of the dads here and beyond that a happy Father's Day. So I think that's it. I'm looking forward to the Culture Fest. It's coming this Saturday, and have a great weekend, everybody.
Mike?
Just looking forward to all the great events this summer. I have 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, so a lot of this falls right in my wheelhouse as I'm trying to keep them busy. So thank you to all the hard work staff does. And as I said earlier, I think we do a great job of keeping costs down. And it's really, really great to see that we can offer things and everyone can access them. So looking forward to the summer with everyone.
Yeah, just a few things. Rachel, as you mentioned, the volunteer lunch, I was there to give out that award, the Ruth Harper Award. She was very, very honored. Didn't want to say much because I think she was very humble, but very well deserved. It was a lot of fun seeing all those volunteers, and some of them, the amount of hours that they actually volunteer at that place is just amazing. So the support that you get from the senior community for the senior community is extra special. The state of the city, it was really kind of good to go and get a peek at what the city is looking at. As John mentioned, and Steve, you both kind of alluded to a few things. They did a lot of surveys, and a lot of the things that may have been issues in the past seem to be subsiding, and the city is definitely moving in a direction that I think that the residents are all feeling very comfortable with. And then hopefully we will get those other 2 awards presented when we can find the dates as well. So again, you guys all mentioned summer is the best part of, well, there's 2 times, summer and then the holidays in the city. So there's so much activity, I don't know when you guys take a break. So it's kudos to all of you guys, and thank you guys for all your reports. Thank you guys for sticking around later into the evening. I appreciate your time and all your efforts, so thank you.
Yes, thank you all for reporting tonight. And great job by the team with the events that have happened over the last month or 2. I attended the Easter egg hunt at Finkbeiner. I like the way you reconfigured it so that everyone's on the main softball field. I thought that went really well. Next year, I would recommend you put a drone overhead. I would just love to see the crush, I'd love to see that video. Looking forward to, and Earth Day was a great event too, despite the weather. I thought it was really well attended, surprised me. So thank you for what you did there. That was well done. Looking forward to Culture Fest this weekend. Hope to see everybody there. And the upcoming concerts and movies in the park. Here comes summer. Let's enjoy. John, do you have any closing comments? Okay. Well, then we'll call it a night at 7:58.